Hello, termites. Now, for those of you who may not seen the last video, or maybe you didn't watch it all the way to the end, look what came in. The Night Night Termite t-shirts. My friend Heidi designed this. Isn't this adorable? Look, it's a termite in a sleeping bag. It says Worthy Termite. It says not, that's the back. And then the front, it says Kathleen Madigan Storytime, and then there's a baby termite on the front. Now, here's the thing. I got large, and they're super soft. I didn't skimp. Sometimes I want to order a t-shirt in a bar, and they go in the back, and they bring it out, and it's crunchy enough that I could cut somebody's face off with it. These are not like this. Super soft, hardly any chemicals, because I have allergies to chemicals. And this beagle sniffs out very little chemicals. Excellent. Super soft. And I got larges, extra larges, 2 times and 3 times. Here's how much I love the Chumby termites. The 2 times and 3 times are more. They charge me more, but I'm not charging you more for that. And I just got a limited amount because I don't know how many of you guys really want one. And that's okay too. You don't have to, so a lot of people have no money right now. So, you don't have to buy one. They're just there if you want them. They only come in white. I'm not a fucking factory, What can I say? I'm not Carrot Top. Have you ever, plus shipping and handling. I forgot about that. So don't holler. I thought they shipped. No, it's not. Because some of you people are in Canada. And I'm sending them to Canada. The website guys will do that. But sometimes it's pricey. Some of you people live in weird, not that Canada's weird, but far away. And now the mail's fucked up. Doing everything I can to get you guys these t-shirts. What am I drinking? Number JUAN tequila. Who owns this? Senor Blanco. Who's Senor Blanco? Ron White. It's his tequila. And I put it in my Bloody Mary, and it's delicious. And his reposado, see how I said that like I know what I'm talking about? All I know is it's the fancier one, and it's delicious. And then it tastes like scotch almost. To which I said, why aren't we just drinking scotch? He goes, because I own this tequila. Right. Okay, anyway, I don't have my own liquor. If I did, it would probably be a beer. But not a craft beer. That's why I won't make a beer, because I just want Bud Light or Busch Light. And they already make that. So there's no reason for me to get involved in that business. I like Fat Tire, too. And I like a Yingling every now and then. High calories, though, but delicious. Okay. Tanya's having an affair with a married man. I'm not sure I even know this guy's name yet. Anyway, of course, whenever he and I talked about his impending divorce, he had one reason or another that it couldn't happen just yet. See, that's when you leave. But that's what a 32-year-old may not know. He's bullshitting you. He's not leaving. If they want to leave, they'll leave. But I believed he was working on it. I started mentioning it in my shows, too. Whoa. Started mentioning him in my shows, too. Oh, no. You can't do that. At that time, Lori Morgan was going out with a tour bus driver, so I make sly allusions to that and wink over towards the band. Or I'd talk about how cute certain guys were in my band. I need to make it clear that the reason my dad didn't want me dating a band member had nothing to do with a band member being a less important person than me. It had to do with professionalism on the road and the problems that can be caused when anyone dates someone they work with. Well, absolutely. I don't disagree with Daddy on that. I dodged my dad at every turn. He had spies out on the road with me all the time. If my father sent spies out with me on the road, they would be terribly bored. I don't really think they would enjoy the job of spying. I'm never sure who they are, but they're there. And it didn't take long before Bo Tucker knew Tanya was screwing up again. I tried to be unavailable for his calls, but every so often he'd catch up with me. Do you have any idea what you're doing? Yes, I'd say. I'm living my life. You're ruining your life. Just because he's in the band, just because he's married. I'm happy, Daddy. Isn't that what you want? This whole thing is going to come to a no good end. It's going to be fine, Daddy. And so it went. I'd argue with Dad, make love with my new boyfriend, talk with Ben on the phone about Presley, then go off down the road to another show or another celebrity event. I don't go to celebrity events. I don't even know what that would mean. Golf? I do charity golf for cystic fibrosis, but I don't like to go to those things anyway. And sometimes those things, shows or special events, become something I focus on so hard that I ignore what's ever going on in my day-to-day life. Right after the holidays, my life took another sharp turn. Maybe it was seeing Ben with Presley on Christmas, or maybe it was the fact that my new beau had to spend time with his wife. Yes, that's what happens when you're married. That person is going to have to spend time with said person they're married to. Or that would be weird. Otherwise, you'd be a runaway bride or a runaway groom, and you would have run away. But I started feeling closer to Ben again, and I was wondering if there could possibly be a future for us. Well, is Ben working? Is Ben in movies yet? Wasn't that the goal? Is he on an episode of Love Boat? That's what would have been on back then. How about Chips? I'm curious about that. Ben started to feel the same way. And by January 1999, we were a couple again. Oh, dog. What happened to the married guy? We started talking about having a life together, even having another child together. There's a fairly large age gap between Ben and his brothers, so he believed in having children close together. So on January 5th, we went to Santa Fe to spend a few days with Allie McGraw. Oh, the lady from Love Story. In Allie McGraw's condo at Rancho Encantada. We invited Shirley Porter and Ro Farron to come with us. The four of us went skiing, went to Taos to shop. We had a great vacation. I believe that's when Bo Grayson Tucker was conceived. Well. What happened to the other guy? Ben swears it was on January 2nd when I played a show in Dallas. Our entire family was staying at the Stockyards in Fort Worth. I love Fort Worth. Ben, me, and Presley, we made a big fire in the fireplace, but put Presley to bed and made love in front of the roaring fire. I think Ben just likes the romantic idea of the roaring fire. But wherever it happened, Bo Grayson was very much wanted. Ben and I wanted, played, and prayed for a baby brother for Presley. Ben and Presley came with me to Chicago on February 12th when I was scheduled to appear the following day on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Oh, no. No. This is why it's taken so long to read this book, because I keep telling you stupid stories. But I'm going to tell you a stupid story right now. My BFF, Lewis Black, was on Oprah Winfrey's show, and he was told it was for, like, comics on the brink, right? Well, when he got there, it wasn't. It was up-and-coming comics, and, like, he was, like, 42, and everybody else was, like, 22, and he felt hoodwinked about a lot of the Oprah situation, but what was even more crazy, I was in a comedy condo somewhere on the road watching it, and I'm like, oh, Lou's gonna be on Oprah, I gotta check this out, and he came out, and his collar was all flipped up, and his tie was crooked. He kind of looked like a hobo, but nobody told him. Like, how did nobody, usually before you go out on any TV set, no matter who you are, if you're not a famous person or a famous person, there's a lady there who works for the show, or a man, and they check your clothes to make sure, you don't have stains on them or some bullshit. Well, I guess that person at Oprah's show, which I'm sure existed, forgot to check Lou out. He looked like a hobo that just left a late happy hour. That's how I would describe it. Anyway, he can tell you the whole story, but I just sat in a condo with a cup of coffee with my mouth hanging open going, oh my God, when he sees this, he's going to be furious because he looks crazy. We'd been at a polo match in Florida for the past several days. Ben scored 3 goals at the match. Oh, Ben plays polo? What? I thought he's an out-of-work actor. How do you know how to play polo? I don't know how to play polo. I think you need a horse, and I don't have a horse. So start with that. The theme of the Oprah show was mothers and daughters. Okay, that's what they'll tell you, and then you're going to get there, and it's going to be called, how much do you hate your mother? That's what it'll tell you. You cannot trust talk show people. Do not trust them. I don't trust them at all, especially after our reality people. Oh, Christ. It's all a trick. Everything's a trick. The theme of the show is mother and daughter. So Mother flew in from Nashville and we met at O'Hare, where Oprah's limo picked us up and took us to a hotel. The other guests set for the show were Ally Sheedy and her mother Charlotte, and Lisa Hartman and her mother Johnny. Johnny? I don't know. That's a weird spelling. Oprah was picking up the tab at this hotel. Well, yeah, you're a guest on the show. Yeah, they pay for the hotel. And all we had to do was sign for whatever we wanted. Room service, drinks at the bar, whatever. Well, I don't know that I got that when I did the Tonight shows and all that. I probably wouldn't have thought about doing that because I'd think I'll get in trouble. That would be my thought. I'll just pay for my own cheeseburger. Who gives a shit? When Mother went out to dinner and found out that she was Oprah's guest, she wouldn't order more than a salad. See, I'm with Mama. Hating for Oprah to see the bill and think the Tucker entourage had been extravagant. Exactly. My family would not agree. They'd order everything and say thanks and leave. I told her I thought Oprah could probably afford to buy her a steak, but Mother held firm. The next morning, we all went to the studio prior to the taping for hair and makeup. That proved to be as big a stumbling block for Mother as the food had been. Stylist gave her the works. Heavy lipstick. Okay, see, you got to go into makeup and tell them what you want. You can't just go, I don't know, whatever you think looks good, because I would walk out of places looking like Liza Minnelli. One special I was on Lifetime, my mom said, well, you were funny, but why did they do all that makeup to make you look Asian? I go, what? Yeah, I thought you looked Asian. I said, boy, I didn't, but I guess, how did I look as an Asian? Well, you look fine. It just didn't look like you. Right. I didn't even notice. Shows you how much I care. I like it when you go to CNN or MSNBC, because Joy Behar's show used to be on there, and I used to do a lot of that. They just take your makeup in the thing and just spray your face. 2 seconds. Boom. Take 10 minutes for your eyes. Good to go. I told her, I thought, the next word about the stylist. She didn't say a word until just before we walked on the soundstage. Then she whispered, Tanya, I'd just hate for your daddy to be watching and see me all painted up like this. I look like a floozy. Of course, when we got back to Nashville, Daddy agreed. A woman as beautiful as Juanita doesn't need all that junk on her face. Mother hasn't realized that Oprah was going to be talking about points of contention between mothers and daughters. What did I tell you? I haven't even read this. It's never what it seems. It's trickery. I don't think I quite understood either. Of course not, because I'm sure they didn't tell you. That's how Oprah tricks you. It's not just Oprah. All of them. The only one that doesn't is Maury Povich, because he tells you, you're going to come on here and fight about who's the baby daddy. And people go, okay, and they do it. Well, I just got distracted. I thought a squirrel got on my bird feeder. Anyway, I'm just warning you guys, don't participate in this stuff. And since I hadn't warned her, okay. I don't think I quite understood either. I suppose the show's concept was in one of the dozen faxes that came to the hotel in Florida when Besley and Presley and I vacationed. I doubt it. I bet they didn't say a word. And since I hadn't warned her, Mother clammed up when we got around to my wild lifestyle. We weren't the kind of family to air dirty laundry, and that hour in front of the camera was pure hell for Mother. Well, that's not very nice. She would just as soon told the world She would have just as soon told the world that I always acted like I was teaching Sunday school. Allie and Charlotte Sheedy talked about some rough times Allie'd gone through. And Lisa Hartman brought up the fact that her mother seldom approved of her choices in men. When we took a commercial break, I turned to Lisa and said, you know who you should meet? Clint Black. He's just the kind of a good guy Mother wants to see her daughter bring home. She didn't let on, but she'd already met Clint at one of his shows. I take credit as a matchmaker for that union anyway. I wanted Ben to sit in the audience with Presley and bring her up towards the end of the show, but he flatly refused. What do you mean? He's an actor. Get in the seat. Act like the father of this baby. Play the game. Ben hated the idea of being considered my tag-along boyfriend who might be using my name to further his career. Well, what career? I have heard no updates on this man. Now I'm going to have to Google him. I have so many things to Google. So much time. So he stayed backstage, and a crew member carried Presley out when the time came. After the show, Presley and I had our picture taken with Oprah, and we chatted with you for a few moments. That was our only contact with the show's star, since she didn't come back to the dressing rooms before or after the taping. That's not nice. Sorry. Leno does. Leno comes to every dressing room. Hey, how you doing? And he's got his weird little outfit on, his jean shirt and his jeans. Hey, you having fun? Who are you talking to? Talking to my parents, Jay. Well, here, let me talk to him for a minute. He would actually do that. You can say whatever you want about Jay Leno, but he was super friendly. Letterman? No, not so much. Craig Ferguson? Dynamite. Love Craig Ferguson. Conan? It's all right. But I think you should say hi to your guests, and you should thank them beforehand and afterwards. If I had a talk show, which I will never have, that's what I would do. Kelly Clarkson's nice, so I hear from my friend who works there. I have a huge amount of respect for Oprah. She appears to balance stardom and big business extremely well. I wanted so badly to do that by myself. Harlan Howard told me that I was a songwriter hidden in a singer's body. I'm also a detail person hidden inside an idea person's body. There's a lot of hiding going on here. I see so many details I want to handle in both my personal and professional life. When I cut an album, I start to carefully planning the videos and the album and the cover shoot. I think about the specific promotions that might work. Well, that's good. But I never seem to have the time to carry them out. I never think of any of this. They're like, what's your tour poster? I'm like, shit if I know. I don't know. Just put a picture up and say Kathleen's coming. How about that? That doesn't work. So I ended up leaving it to others. Sometimes I get things done the way I'd hope, and sometimes not. I'd sure like to know how women like Oprah juggle all those businesses. Not being able to do it myself is probably the most frustrating thing about my life, and that's the thing that drives me the craziest. After reading this book, I'm sure you'll be saying, no, what drives her the craziest is men. That'd be a close second. She still hasn't said what happened to the other guy. I don't know. And he's in the band. It's going to be weird. February 28th, Ben and I went to Las Vegas for a show, and Ben told me he was going to ask my father for my hand in marriage. He was so old-fashioned about it, so proper. There we were, one child already, one hoped for, and he was going to ask my dad for hand in marriage. Both my parents gave their approval, although Dad told me later he didn't think anything was going to come of it since I hadn't come with Ben when he asked the big question. Maybe they were right about my not coming along having some importance, because in light of what happened a month or two later, oh no, it was obvious I didn't know what I wanted. I smell trouble. I had 3 days off in March, and I spent them with Ben in his Los Angeles apartment. Ben was living in a little efficiency at the Horace Hyatt Estates. It's a very cool place. Horace Hyatt was a band leader during the heyday of big bands. He built a house for himself and some bungalows for his band, and then eventually added on and made the whole thing into a little apartment community. Most of the people that lived at Horace Hyatt were 60 or older, and Ben was everybody's grandson. See, why is Ben in an efficiency? Is he not on Fantasy Island yet? Love Boat? Those are the shows that were popular back then. In prime time, I'm talking. Dallas? Anybody? I mean, I'm not trashing Ben. I'm just saying it's very hard to be a successful actor in Los Angeles or anywhere for that matter, and I haven't heard of any big roles yet. Just saying. He was like everybody's grandson. When we came and went, it seemed like there was always some elderly couple smiling and waving to us. It served to remind me that people could and did get married and stay together until old age. We'd get up every morning, and Ben and I would fix a big breakfast, scrambled eggs, sausage, and pancakes. I do love to eat. We'd go out for lunch or dinner and then come back to Horace Hyatt and watch television. One afternoon, we went out and bought us a home pregnancy test. When it came up positive, we were two of the happiest people alive. Those are probably the 3 best days, wow, we ever spent together. We lived like normal people till I had to go back on the road. My plan was to tour with the musician I'd been seeing as nothing more than another band member. Okay, well, I don't know that that's going to work unless this guy really needs the gig. I wanted to concentrate on the fairy tale world in which I married the father of my children and everyone was thrilled about it. Okay. Okay. But once I was back in the world of truck stops, tour buses, and a different venue every night, I wasn't so sure. Exactly. That's what happens on the road. It's a fantasy. Many decisions made on the road are not made from a realistic standpoint. Totally. The musician kept up after me about how much he loved me, wanting to talk about us. He said he loved me first as a friend, that he loved me for just who I was. No changes needed. Ben wanted a wife who'd be a little more traditional than I believed I could ever be. Yeah, I'd say probably not. Little by little, I broke down. The musician had some sort of hold over me, and I still can't figure out what it was. I told you guys this would happen. Well, I didn't know she'd get back with him. But I don't think she'd stay with Ben either. I didn't know what to do. I was feeling guilty about everything in my life. Over my lover, over Ben, over sneaking around with a band member, making my dad nuts. It got so bad that when Ben left messages at various venues or hotels, I wouldn't return the calls. I didn't know what to say. So I decided I wouldn't say anything. I played Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park, California on March 23rd and 24th, and Ben drove from Los Angeles. That's in traffic in LA. That could take 8 days. You should marry Ben just for doing that shit. I didn't know either as a Midwestern person when I moved to California. I never thought about it being Knott's Berry Farm. I thought it was just like an amusement deal. No, there's actual berries there, and you go pick them. But I also don't understand why I would do that when I could go to the grocery store and someone has already done that, and they're right there. I guess people like picking stuff. I don't know. Not unless I'm getting paid. As soon as Ben, I can't believe this guy drove out there. I mean, it's not far. Technically, it's probably 30 miles. But in LA traffic, seriously, you got to really like somebody to drive out there. As soon as Ben arrived, he went back to where the buses pulled in. I'd gone on with Presley and the nanny to check into the hotel. Right away, Ben noticed that one of the band members was acting strange around him. And finally, one of them let slip about the one I was seeing again. Ben said he realized all those times this guy had been hanging around me had not been about the band business. It was the first time he knew about the affair between the guy and me. He went to my bus and was sitting there getting madder by the minute when he saw the guy climb down off the band bus. When I came out of the hotel and walked across the parking lot towards the buses, my boyfriend was walking towards me holding his shoulder. He looked terrible. I rushed over and asked him what happened. He told me that he'd gotten off the bus. Ben had been waiting for him. Remember, Ben is a former football player. He's pretty to look at, but he's no pretty boy by any stretch of the imagination. He's big and as strong as an ox. Ben grabbed the musician so hard he dislocated his shoulder. Oh my God. That's not going to make for a fun after show time on the bus, I'll tell you that. Not when people are ripping each other's shoulders out. It's going to mess up your little wine on the bus. Then Ben accused him of having an affair with me while I was pregnant with his child. What? Ben told him he was about as sorry as an individual could imagine. He went on to say, if I were you, I'd get down on my hands and knees and apologize to me. And while you're down there, you might want to beg your wife's forgiveness too. Oh, he threw out the you're married thing. Oh my gosh. Who's admiring my cabin socks? Everybody in Canada. That's who. Those are roots. I thought I lost my microphone. I didn't. Thank God. There's a lot going on here. My boyfriend said he dropped to his knees and apologized all over the place. When he finished, Ben just returned to his car and drove back to LA. I was pissed at Ben, but in some strange way I was relieved it was all out in the open. The musician and I stayed in our insulated world of interstate highways and concerts for the next couple months, and he continued to take care of the details for me. I was playing the Roy Clark Theater in Branson, Missouri. What? Shout out, Missouri. I don't go to the shows in Branson. There's very good golf there, and it's a very pretty part, but the shows, some of them start at 2 in the afternoon. Right? Did somebody say, what the fuck? That's what I thought I heard. Yeah. And a lot of them don't have alcohol. I just can't drink a Pepsi, full Pepsi. They're not into diet. And sit there and watch, Roy Clark in a theater at 2 in the afternoon. Some start at 10 a.m. because it's old. It's a lot of old Christian-y fans. I haven't been in a while. I should shut up, but if you're going to go to Branson, go for the golf, go to Big Cedar Lodge. Very pretty places. You don't need to get involved in the Roy Clark Theater. In my dressing room, when one of the crew dropped by with a woman he introduced as Tootie Clymer. Clymer. Tootie was married to a friend of the guy's, Jerry Clymer, and they lived in Lead Hill, Arkansas, about 35 miles from Branson. She and some family members had been sightseeing in Branson, and when they saw my name on the marquee, they stopped in to say hello to my crew member. Trudy happened to mention that she was between jobs, and so it happened. I was sorely in need of a personal assistant. So the crew asked me if she'd be interested in working with me on the road. She said she would, and he brought her back to meet me that night after the show. Tootie, her name's Tootie, T-U-D-Y, like Judy with a T, Tootie. Tootie and I hit it off right away. Is this we'd known each other our entire lives. She'd also worked with Gene Shepard, the opera star, so she understood what all would be required. I don't think you probably do with Tanya. I think there's going to be some stranger calls in the middle of the night you probably weren't counting on. I hired her on the spot. She warned me she had 3 problems as far as being on the road. She hated to fly, she never wanted to go to California and take the chance of being in an earthquake, and she never wanted to stay anywhere above the 2nd story of a hotel in case of a fire. Oh my God. All right, but that already makes you a pain in my ass. That's not how you start on the road, with a list of shit you won't do. And I agree. My dad always says, don't say higher in a hotel than a fire ladder. Now, I haven't recently Googled how high a ladder can go, but I try to remember that. And I don't hate to fly. And I do think about earthquakes in California. Anyway, she hired her. All right, termites. That's all for tonight. We're almost done with this book. Isn't that exciting? We're going to move on. I think I've decided for sure Loretta Lynn, because if you think there's some hillbillified shit in this book, you have no idea. I have glanced through the Loretta Lynn book, not the coal miner daughter one. Everybody knows that story. It's the next one. Just watched the Dan Rather show, Access, the big interview. He had Crystal Gale on. That's her sister. Nobody seems to know that. Seems to bother her a little bit. She still has that long hair. That hair at some point I can only describe as a haunted house. Anyway, that's it, termites. Get your t-shirts if you want them. Shout out to my friend Heidi for making a great t-shirt. Shout out to the California crew of all those girls out there that picked the material. Because I said soft, and it's soft. Right out of the gate. Hasn't even been washed. Oh my God, it's so soft. Oh my God. Okay, are you tucked in? You have your favorite pillow? Got a summer sheet? Still hot. I just do this to make it a little cozy. I'm not hot. I have the air conditioning on. That's it. I'm going to sign out. Ready? Night-night, termites.